We have Estinapa for several years, 4 or 5 years, as long as I'm here, been putting a lot of pressure on the Netherlands and on the government of the island, and also on the people from the Netherlands, the government people who come over here. We have been made them aware of this fact, that the island is growing, is developing, but there's no regulations. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we have things are going wrong. I mean, look at the mangrove village thing. It's because there's no proper regulations. We are not happy with the number of cruise passengers, because cruise passengers, you cannot educate them because they're here in a very short window of time. And there are too many of them at one particular time. It's very difficult to regulate, but like you said, it is a government decision. And
the cruise ship industry represented a massive income, both for the TCB and the island. So far, as I understand it, Estinapa has not received any funds from that industry to date.
No, the cruise ship passengers don't pay to enter the underwater park.
No. So there's no revenue coming back from the cruise ships?
No.
Right. Okay.
Not to us.
Right.
Maybe to others, but not to us.
Yeah.
Remote and wild, Alaska is one of the most beautiful places on Earth. But the very qualities that make it unique, its isolation and magnificent scenery, have made it a magnet for hordes of tourists.
The large ships that you're seeing behind me now are flying flags of convenience. They are flying Panamanian flags. They are from the Bahamas. They are from Liberia. And because of that, they don't pay U.S. income taxes. They don't have to pay U.S. wages and benefits. They don't have to meet U.S. standards for pollution. The environmental issues related to the cruise ships are still unfortunately very unresolved here in Alaska as well as elsewhere around the world. The large ships, like the one behind me, generates about 270,000 gallons a day of what's called gray water, which is laundry, galleys, sink, bathwater, and other types of wastes. They generate about 30,000 gallons a day of sewage. They generate about 7,000 gallons a day of oily bilge water, and often the oily bilge water is contaminated with machine solvents and things from the machine shop on board. They generate about 11.5 tons of garbage. They run incinerators. The ships are floating cities. And in fact, here in Alaska, I mean, they're as big as, or bigger than many of the cities that they actually come to visit.
Judy Crondale runs the longest established bed and breakfast in town with her husband Jay. She believes there's something fundamentally wrong with cruise ship tourism.
You know, it's always been said that travel broadens a person. But travel by cruise ships doesn't do that, because people who come on cruise ships are so overwhelmingly surrounded by other cruise ship passengers, by people who cater to the cruise ship industry, that they really don't find out about the places they travel to. And that's my opposition to the industry, is that it is so insular, so totally self-contained, so selfish, that it really doesn't do anything good for the communities that they visit.
Honestly, I haven't been down in this part of town for years. There really just isn't anything to bring me down here anymore, other than an interview, because everything that's down here now is geared towards the cruise ship industry. It's just a string of shops that sell t-shirts and jewelry and trinkets, things that say I was in Alaska, so that people can bring these things back to their relatives and their friends, I guess, and prove they were here. I'm not sure where they think they were.
Half a day away by sea at the town of Haines, cruise ships have been given a frosty reception, the town voting to limit the number of ships allowed to dock. And in some places, helicopter flights are being restricted in an attempt to curb noise pollution. The cruise ship industry has retaliated by cutting donations to community programs and cancelling some visits. It seems some people are slowly beginning to take notice of the industry's track record.
All of the ships that you're seeing here, literally every major company that runs cruise ships, these foreign flag cruise ships, has been convicted of felonies multiple occasions over the last 10 years, over and over again, for dumping pollutants and for lying about it after the fact.
What's it say that it's happened so many times, that they're repeat offenders?
Well, what it says to me is they make more money by polluting than not polluting. Until we get a permit in place that allows them to be stopped completely from discharging, we're not going to be able to control what the industry does.
Several Royal Caribbean ships decided to cut costs by dumping oily waste, then they just flat lied about it. When caught red-handed, they claimed they were not subject to U.S. laws. They finally pled guilty to 21 felony counts, including criminal conspiracy to illegally dump in U.S. waters, and were fined $27 million.
Aloha, I am Guy Hanohano Naeu. I was born and raised on this beautiful island of Molokai. In a small community like ours, everybody's opinion counts. So it's important that we form our opinions out of awareness and understanding. We all know the possible economic benefit that cruise ships might bring, but what about the negative impacts, the possible damage and change that this industry can cause? Is it worth it?
It's a David and Goliath situation. We're fighting a multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar industry, as you'll hear. You may like us or you don't like us, but what I will stand on is that we will do our homework before we bring forward issues that you need to understand.
Generally, the visitor that comes to Molokai stays here, and then he stays here for a few days, or maybe a week, or maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So economically, that is the visitor that we want to have on this island.
All they're interested in is numbers, basically. I mean, the more the better, which I just don't agree with. It's not the more the better.
Eventually, stores get bought out. So they come to town for a while and they kind of establish themselves as a port. And then once they do that, you see new stores showing up in town, like Columbia Emeralds, Little Switzerland, things like this. You know, selling things that were made God knows where. And the people come off the ships, and these are the stores that they're going into. The ships actually have what are called shore-ex people on board, shore excursion directors. And these people tell the people who are getting off the ship where they should go.
They are 30 years now. Everybody who in the way, then why we locate them and find somewhere to put them. Right now, me on the beachfront, so they want to get me off it. For me too small to the year when the cruise ship comes.
Historic Falmouth, Jamaica is the 35 acres of New Jamaican coastland owned and controlled by Royal Caribbean, the world's second largest cruise ship company. The construction of this new land and infrastructure is the sole cost and expense of the Government of Jamaica's Port Authority. Jamaica, one of the most indebted countries in the world, is taking on an added debt burden of at least $224 million. To provide a private corporation with a brand new piece of Jamaica that is fenced and walled off from the Jamaican public. The excuse for the cruise ship development is that it is supposed to revitalize Falmouth through an infusion of investments that will bring jobs. However, the development is not in Falmouth, but on new land created for historic Falmouth, Jamaica. Very little of actual Falmouth is being renovated, and there will be very little economic spillover into Falmouth itself. Cruise ship passengers typically spend very little money on shore and mainly within concessions owned or commissioned by the cruise ship company. And any new jobs for Falmouth will most likely be at the expense of jobs lost in Ocho Rios and Montego Bay, two older cruise ship destinations that are losing passengers.